with Gabe Rench. This is Greg Pruitt with Idaho Dispatch, and obviously this is now the day after an incident occurred at the Moscow City Hall where several people were arrested, several people were cited, and I guess kind of from your perspective. So here's with these videos that we see, a lot of the times these videos start after something has already started happening. And so far, at least in the videos I've seen, and there's probably more out there, I only see basically the cops leading you away, or you're standing by the police car and you're already cuffed. So, how did they approach you specifically? And, were you on the outside of the crowd, or how did that all come about?
Yeah, so I walked up to the crowd that was already starting to form, and I was just kind of on the edge front of the crowd, closest to the cops. And so when my pastor announced that if you don't social distance and if you aren't wearing a mask, you will be cited or possibly arrested, no one really moved in the crowd. Everyone kind of just stayed there. And so when we started singing, the cops walked up to me and my mom, and they asked my mom, "Are you with this gentleman?" And my mom said, "He's my son." And then when she did that, I had a buddy next to me, Tyler, and I put my arm around him and I said, "But he's my friend." And so obviously that just signaled to the cops, okay, we're going to write him a ticket, a citation. And so the officer asked for my driver's license, and I said, "Officer, you don't need to do this." And he asked for my driver's license again. I said, "Officer, you don't need to do this." He asked for my driver's license again. And I said, "Officer, you need to be protecting my rights, my constitutional rights to worship. You need to be protecting our constitutional rights and not enforcing this unconstitutional order from the mayor. Your duty's to me, actually not to the mayor in this moment." And the officer said, "Please give me your ID. I don't want to arrest you." And I said, "You know better than this, and you know this is wrong and not right." And they said, "One more time, I'm gonna arrest you if you don't give me your driver's license." And I said, "Officer, this is just wrong." And so he proceeded to arrest me, and I was just kind of talking to him the whole time. I had emailed our police chief Fry on Tuesday morning after the resolution got extended to January 5th, and told police chief Fry in an email saying, "Hey, look, man, this is your Daniel moment. You need to stand up for the freedom of our citizens and the rights and our rights." And don't be like the Apostle Peter who ran away from Jesus. Be like Daniel who went into Babylon, who went in and resisted tyranny. And so that was my email on Tuesday. Well, he was right there on Wednesday night. He's a Christian man, and he was right there. And I said, "This was your Daniel moment," as they were walking me off to arrest me. So they arrested me. And I got in the police car as everyone's singing Amazing Grace. I mean, the juxtaposition was just fantastic of what was going on. They're singing Amazing Grace as I'm getting put in the cop car. Obviously, cameras were all around and everything. And then they drove me to the Latah County Jail to book me. And when I got there, I also told them, because they didn't ask, I also told them I have a medical exemption according to the mayor's resolution, and the officer didn't care, and he said, "I'll just put that in my paperwork, thank you." And so wrongful arrest and all this too. And I'm in jail for about 2 hours. My other friend Sean, who got arrested too with his wife Rachel, he ends up in jail with me, and we're just kind of singing songs and praying and just having a good time. I know this isn't any sort of like Paul style persecution. It's definitely kind of persecution light. They did arrest me for worshiping, but I was in jail for about 2 hours. And as they're releasing me, I'm sitting in a chair. The deputy is taking my information before they let me go, and I'm looking across the way into an office where there's 3 deputies. 2 of them are not social distancing and not wearing masks. And so as I'm leaving, I walk into that office and say, "Officer, you need to arrest these 2 people. They're not social distancing. They're not wearing a mask." And the officer said, "Please go." And I said, "No, you need to arrest them." And just kind of left the awkward long pause there. "You need to arrest them. They're not social distancing and not wearing a mask." And so basically they kind of pushed me out, not physically, but kind of made me go. And it's just unbelievable how arbitrary this whole thing is that the deputies, I'm sitting there arrested in jail at the Latah County Courthouse, and the own deputies there in that moment are not social distancing and not wearing a mask, and they're booking me for the same thing. I mean, it's just unbelievable how this happened. So this is the Moscow PD and Latah County Sheriff's horrible performance.
So yeah, so was your guys' event, the Christchurch event at Moscow City Hall, a direct response to them extending the order, or was this already planned?
No, it was not planned. In fact, on Monday night, all the people who testified for the hours were against the resolution. They said, do not extend this resolution. Here's why. There's only 2 people in hours of testimony who were for the resolution. And that was it. So they were not listening to the people of Moscow. They were not representing the people of Moscow. And so when that happened, when the resolution passed that night, the next day, the leaders of my church said, well, let's just do another. We've been doing these psalm sings. Let's do another psalm sing on Wednesday night. We've been doing these psalm sings through this whole resolution since July 2nd.
Yeah.
And as a protest, for sure. It's a worship service and a protest at the same time. And so it's a religious event, and it also has a public component to it of protesting. And so we've been in no harassment from the cops, no warnings, no anything. So I did not go there thinking I was going to get arrested.
Yeah, and that was going to be my next question. Did you plan on it? Did anyone there think that was actually going to happen? You had mentioned when we spoke prior to doing this video that Black Lives Matter, for instance, had held a protest. Three protests. Okay, after the order
2nd.
had been given on July 2nd, and to your knowledge, was anybody arrested for those?
I have one correction there. I had three protests. I'm not sure if all of them were after July 2nd, so just make sure that gets noted. But at least one of them was after July 2nd.
Okay.
So what was the question?
So, to your knowledge, were those events also, were people social distancing, wearing
yes.
masks? Did anybody get arrested?
No one got arrested. No one got cited. The cops were there, making sure the protest was peaceful, which is hard to do for Marxists. But there were people who were not wearing a mask and not social distancing at the protest.
So, what, in your opinion, what do you believe changed from all of the events that have occurred, from BLM to your events, where you said you've done multiple of these events? So what do you think changed to last night, where finally the city police decided we're going to go ahead and enforce this?
For one, I think that our leaders have believed a lie that we are in a pandemic here in Latah County, and we are. And so, because there's so much division on are we or are we not, our leaders get very defensive. They can't handle dissension. They can't handle division. So what they do is they create edicts and resolutions to force people to comply, instead of giving us our liberties to be able to. I'm in the best place. I'm the best person to decide my health. The mayor has no clue about my health history. The mayor has no clue about even, how old I am. There's just no data that factors into his ability to make a health decision for me that he's doing right now. Secondly, they've believed this lie, and I think that when you legislate petty law like this, it becomes a pride moment to where you need to enforce it if people are disobeying it. So I think pride is absolutely involved in all this. And so the mayor is requiring his Moscow PD, who has told me, the officer arresting me that night, told me I don't want to do this. The Moscow PD do not want to enforce this resolution. Well, Mayor Lambert has a paycheck to their heads. Mayor Lambert has a gun to their head saying, if you don't enforce this, I can fire you. I'll fire the police chief. So the mayor has a paycheck to Chief Fry's head. Chief Fry retires in 2 years. He's got a pension coming up. Retires in 2 years. He knows that if I don't do this, I lose my pension. And so I think that's what changed, was that we had been testing the line. We've been doing psalm sings through all of this. And we've been kept pushing the line. And then they got really heavy-handed on Monday night and said January 5th. Everyone's going to wear masks, and everyone's going to have to social distance till January 5th. And then we immediately on Wednesday, as soon as we could organize, go and sing psalms at City Hall. And so I think the petty tyranny, the prideful petty tyranny, rose up in the hearts of our mayor and city council and required the Moscow PD to do something they did not want to do. And they're cops. They should be brave. They're cops. They should stand up to tyranny. They're cops. They should know that the Constitution allows me to worship and that the government cannot tell me when, where, and how.
Okay.
And the cops should know that.
Now, you mentioned the mayor a couple times, and I don't know if you're aware of this. I'm sure that you are. We were given a picture of the mayor officiating at a wedding. Now, I don't know the details of this. I've heard the mayor has some sort of explanation for it, but in this picture that he is officiating this wedding, allegedly, nobody is wearing a mask. There is not any social distancing.
Yep.
You know, what are your thoughts on that?
So the mayor disobeyed his own order. On September 5th, he officiated a wedding, didn't social distance, didn't wear a mask. On September 2nd, he was at a party with over 50 people, didn't social distance, didn't wear a mask. And so I was at a religious event, not social distancing, not wearing a mask. I get arrested. He officiates a religious event, a wedding, and he doesn't social distance and doesn't wear a mask, and I get arrested. That's the problem with petty law like this, is you cannot enforce it without partiality. It's impossible to enforce it across the board. And so the mayor creates this law, this unjust, unconstitutional law, and he knows he can't enforce it in every detail, in every way. It's impossible to do that. It's impossible to be fair with this law. How many people there that night were not social distancing at the psalm sing, and I was the only, me, 3 people were the only people that got arrested?
Yeah, and that's one of my questions for the police too, because what was interesting in the statement that the city released, they said in the statement something to the effect of, it appeared that most people were, grouped together in social distancing, and I thought, okay, I've seen the videos, and it looked like most people were not social distancing and obviously not wearing masks. And so one of my questions for the police will be why these 5 individuals, and you were obviously arrested. The other couple was arrested for,
Sean and Rachel.
Was it obstructing and resisting? Is that what they tried?
So they got arrested for disobeying the resolution, and they also got charged for obstructing or resisting arrest, not giving over their identification. The cop that arrested me came to me and explained the citation to me. He said this is a misdemeanor for disobeying the resolution, and I did not charge you with obstruction and resisting arrest. And I looked at him and I said, "Are you being merciful, Master?" Massa.
Yeah. Is that now? Do you anticipate that these charges will continue? Do you think the city is going to push forward and try to prosecute the 3 of you?
At this point, yeah. I mean, I have no reason not to believe. My court dates, my initial hearing is on next Wednesday.
Okay.
I have no evidence otherwise.
Do you believe that you're currently running as a Republican for Latah County Commissioner? Do you believe that had any?
No, I was the closest. I was the first person on the line that the cops walked up to. I don't feel singled out on that front at all because of my political campaign, but I do think that there are other forces at play, absolutely, in all this. When you get religiously persecuted, there's absolutely far more going on, than just some sort of political party issue in all this. So.
Okay. All right. And do you have anything else you would like to add about this incident, and what does the church plan on doing going forward? Are they going to continue to hold these types of events, and anything else you'd like to close with?
Yeah, we actually are hosting a psalm sing tomorrow night, Friday at 5 o'clock at City Hall. We'd love to have thousands at City Hall singing psalms and being cheerful and having a good time. So thank you.
All right, Gabe, I appreciate your time. Thank you.